What's up, it's Kit, time for another video. Today we're doing a video specifically for our friends over at the US, and what we're gonna be doing is something that's kind of outside what I do. However, kind of simple to do these things, not really complicated, but I think it's also something that's very underserviced. And although this is nothing that we use in Asia, this whole system is actually very easy to understand. These are the flatfalls. Okay, so basically flatfall jigs are kind of an in-betweener. They're not really slow jigs, but they're also not fast jigs. And how a lot of people use them, or how they're meant to be used, is actually more of like a yo-yo type jigging, as opposed to slow jigging or fast jigging. Okay, this is also one of the reasons why there are a lot of people that are confused and think that they could use their existing gear for slow jigging, which you can't. Okay, it's very different. However, an assist hook is an assist hook pretty much, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. I'm also going to give you kind of like an easy way, and then we'll see if we have time to actually do a flatfall using ordinary jigging hooks, which is also starting to get popular in the US. But for you guys out there that are not ready to commit to a full-on slow jigging setup, you can use this as an in-betweener. Alrighty, so the hooks that we're gonna be using are VMCs, okay, and this is the 926090. Okay, now these hooks are live bait hooks, so you have an eye and you have your hook. Perfectly usable. Okay, perfectly usable. And instead of a flatfall jig, and this jig is available in the US, this is the Major Craft slow jig. Okay, vertical slow. This is 250 grams, and as you can see, it's actually about the same shape as a flatfall jig. Now, I would say that this is probably a very good alternative to buying from China, or buying the fake ones. But Major Craft jigs, especially this one, is actually very stable, and the quality is Japanese quality. So even if they are not made in Japan, this is meant to be sold in Japan, and that's actually a very big thing. Now, after making the assist hooks, what I will do is actually go into a little bit of discussion about how you can tune these jigs. Okay, we're borrowing this from Wael. Obviously, after everything, what we're gonna do is we're gonna not use this, because we slow jig here, we don't flatfall. All right, so very easy. Again, this is kind of like the easy way of doing it, but we're not gonna do it sloppy. All right, that's something that I can assure you we're not. Okay, now if you're new to this channel talks about the hows and whys of fishing. We cover everything from big game, ultralight, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. And today we're rigging this Major Craft slow jig in a flatfall configuration. Okay, so very first thing is actually just simple, very simple. Okay, we're using a cord here, which does not have a core. Okay, not important at this point. Okay, not important. And we are going to tie an overhand knot here, just like that. Okay, in the body. So let me actually zoom in and show you guys. Okay, so you go from the top, or you put the hook upside down, and you go from the point side into the shank, wrap around. I like doing it twice. Okay, see, like that, and then just put the tag end through and pull. And that is it. Okay, that is it. Now, instead of cutting the tag, what we will do is we're not gonna get lazy, and we will cut this up to there. Okay, and then we'll bind that. We will bind that, but before that, let's take that fuzzy stuff off. You can see it, right? See, there's some fuzzy stuff here. Just run the lighter like that so it's clean. Okay, like so, and then we will go ahead and wrap. Okay, now this is the long bit here. What I suggest is to cut a good length on this, like so. Okay, we're cutting. This is about, say, about 5 inches or so. We're not going to be using all of that because I'll explain later, but you need that length just so you have the right length to go about this. At least this is how I do things. Okay, now we will tie this up like so, and we want to be as clean as possible. Okay, like I said, you know, especially with these things, there's no excuse to be sloppy, and we're not gonna be sloppy. We will do a good job each and every single time. Okay, make sure that that actually sits correctly. You can adjust that later on. Let's cut the tag here because we have enough tag. Okay. Always a good idea to make your own assist hooks. So I'm showing you two things here. Okay, one is that you can make your own flat fall assist hooks. You don't have to buy, and you can assure yourself of better quality materials if you do this. Okay, also you can assure yourself of better craftsmanship. So at this point, it kind of twisted on me, so I'm just going to reposition that on the bottom right there. Okay, and proceed to tie like so. Now if you hear something like a fan in this video on the background, that's because I'm rendering videos in the computer, and that's the noise. Okay, so at this point you can actually finish it. Now, might be asking what the heck I was doing with these pliers. So basically what I was doing was positioning the tag end at the center. Okay, thing is, I didn't really tighten this part. I didn't really tighten it as much as I should, because this will jam it anyway, and adding this right here, what it does is when you're pulling this kind of lets it stay in place. And see, that is not going anywhere, and what happens is that this actually will get tighter. It tightens the knot. Okay, so we have that. Alright, now clean this up while we're here, so just so it's clean. Okay, no fuzzies. Alright, now most important thing here to remember, and the big differentiating factor with flat fall and ordinary assist hooks, is that you don't measure the middle right there. Okay, or you don't have a gauge. there's two things you need to learn. When you're dropping this, the jig will go down, and at one point it'll actually slide back. Okay, but flatfalls are actually designed to be fished on the wind. So most of the fish are actually caught on the wind. So when you're dropping, flatfall jigs don't really move like that or flutter. This will flutter because it's a slow jig. But flatfalls, usually what happens is that they go down deep or go fast. Okay, so with this, if you're using something like this, you have to put a little bit of thumb pressure on the spool. Okay, with flatfalls you don't. With this, a bit of thumb pressure, it will go like that, and then it'll drop. Once you let go, it starts to go like this. Now, that gives you a bit of an advantage if you're using something like this, and I would advise you that instead of actually using a flatfall, you use this because it gives you an extra action which the flatfalls don't have. So, like take for example, the captain says that the fish are in, let's say, let's say 120 feet below the boat. So you drop this down until you reach about 130. Let go of the spool, and this automatically goes like that and starts to flutter. You'll get a lot of strikes from there. Or you drop it to about 150, 200 and start reeling. As soon as you drop to 200, you start reeling, and this will act like a spoon. Okay? So with that, your assist hook should not be in the normal lengths. Okay, it shouldn't be in the normal lengths. Now, specifically for this one, I'll show you exactly why I cut it to that length. Okay, so when you tie this up, it'll be shorter than usual, and that's good since you want this to be closer to the body when it's swimming. So again, go like this. Okay, and then we do 2 turns, and then like so, and then we take the tag end. It's easier than it looks. Okay, so and then we take the tag end right there and pull. Okay, you will see that tag end is there. See that? Alright, now be very, very careful with this. Okay, be very, very careful when you're doing this. Okay, this. Okay, hold the end like so and pull. And alright, so that will actually make this really tight. With eyed hooks, you could just put it like that, and you still have to be careful, of course, but with eyed hooks, at least you have that sort of convenience. Okay, and we tie this back. Obviously, after everything, you're gonna have to super glue this bit right here. You could use epoxy, something like 5-minute epoxy. That would work. Okay, so let's try and do a good, well, not try, but let's do a good job here and making it as clean as possible. Okay, so at this point, it's actually the end, the butt end that we need to make clean. Okay, and we've done that. Okay, just try and fill in the gap so that it's clean. And I'm doing this really tight. Again, this bobbin holder has a drag function, so okay, now we can finish this off. I'll show you the glue up as well, so don't you worry. I think what we're gonna do is we're doing this, and then I'll do the jigging hook version, the one without eyes, in a separate video. I think that works out better for you. That way you have two options. Okay, so that's it. Now, still very, very important to pull this together, each side. Okay, that way the nuts will set. Okay, like that. Pull as hard as you can. There we go. Now, this is what I believe should be done. Okay, not necessarily something that people in the US do. Okay, now with flatfalls, what you're doing is you are actually targeting tuna and the like, and you're actually reeling it in. Okay, so I would put the hooks pointing out like that. Okay, like that. Now, if you're fishing the bottom and you're fishing for rockfish and stuff like that, hook points in. It's like that. But if you're fishing in open areas, like as mentioned, let's say fishing for tuna or suspended fish, don't hook them like that. Hook them like that, or attach the eyes like that. Okay, so we'll do this. Okay, so all we need now is to put the solid ring like so, and then just one. It's easier that way, like that. Okay, just like that. Now we tighten this, and we're gonna do something so that you'll see exactly what we're gonna do. Okay, don't worry. So your hookup ratio with hook points out will actually be higher than hook points in. And you'll snag the fish less, because there's a tendency for these hooks to actually snag the fish. I mean, they will, but most of the time you hook them in the mouth, and okay, so rig it like that. Either way, a lot of people actually, they would rig it hook points in, but there's no reason for that, because guess what? You're reeling in. You're reeling in. Okay? And if you're fishing it like a slow jig, then the hook points in would matter, because you want the fish to get hooked with one and then hook the other hook outside the mouth. But if you are rigging it like that, it will catch this. Okay, and that's it. Now, especially when the fish are snatching, that hook configuration actually works better. Okay, so but either way it works. It's just that with hook points out, when the fish are snatching, they hook up better. Okay, so with this, what I will do is I'll bind it. Okay, bind it a little bit, not a lot. We don't want the bind to be too long. Okay, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I have to face this way so I don't hit the monitor, just in case. Okay, put my finger where it needs to stop. As soon as it hits the finger, I could just maneuver it so that it actually just bunches up. Okay, so not a lot of turns needed because it's just really to lock things in place. Okay, now finish it with whatever nut you use to finish. Could be half hitches and the like. You could also use a nail nut if you want. Okay, so that is done pretty much. Okay, if there's a little tag end sticking out, there's a little bit there, just a lighter does it. Okay, so there we go. Okay, point out. Now it's just a matter of actually putting it on the jig, and you'll see that it's actually kind of shorter than usual for slow jigs, because there we go. Okay, so that will catch you a few fish. Alright, so here's a little bit of a discussion that I wanted to talk about. So at the end of this, once you have this rigged, you put a split ring, and then you have a few choices. You could either have a, which is what I recommend, a ball bearing swivel, and this actually gives you a really big range of motion. And the biggest thing about ball bearing swivels is that it gives you the freedom that actually, or it gives the jig the freedom to actually roll. Okay, now it only happens on brand new swivels, ball bearing swivels, and it gives you that very big range of motion when it's, well, new. After a few uses, it wouldn't be any different from a crane swivel. So a little bit slow because this is kind of restrictive. Obviously, it degrades as well because of salt and corrosion. So what happens, more on salt, but what happens is that salt formations and to a certain extent corrosion, well, that's when you don't wash it, and after a while the rust or whatever, what happens is that it becomes really restrictive, and when it gets restricted, it would be no different than putting a solid ring. So keep that in mind, because that actually affects the range of motion that your jig has. Okay, now there are people that have made videos and tested and showed that this doesn't make any difference and whatnot, but it's very difficult to show people how things move in the air when the jigs catch fish in the water, not in the air. So when you're testing something in the air, okay, without any water resistance or pressure, of course it would move different from when you're actually using it underwater. Okay, so keep in mind, it's very difficult to just watch a few videos and say like, oh, okay, that doesn't really matter, when it's not in the same environment that the lure or jig is in when you're fishing. Okay, so that's all I have to say for that. Alrighty, so if you learned something, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't yet and you want to learn more, click on that subscribe button. Alright, so if you want your fishing buddies to learn what you have just learned today, share this video. It's as simple as that. It's free. Alright, and it's always nice to actually fish with people with the same ideas, same frame of mind, so that there's no clash. Alright, it's just easier when everyone understands, even if they're bait fishing. Alrighty, so yeah, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.